Hey, it's me again. I have a couple of pictures here I took the other day, and yeah, we do have some lions in our neighborhood. No, just kidding. That was from the Zoo magazine, Zoo News. But we do have some interesting weather formations, and my car is interesting too. So I'm going to explore some of the pictures that's on my car. It looks yucky. It's not. It's just coloring. And then there's water on it, so the water drops make it look even stranger. And I apologize for the audio. I'm not sure how good the audio is going to be on this one. My headset is not here with me at the moment. I'm waiting for a replacement or a repair. And so right now I'm just using the laptop on this somewhat noisy laptop microphone. But I wanted to show a couple of ideas, things you can do when you right click on that picture, get it from the browser into the clipboard. It doesn't have an alpha channel, it's just RGB. And then you can use Control V to paste it into the image. That's inside of Howler. This would work also with PD Artist. And so there's a couple of places you can paste it into. One is you paste it into the existing image. Now that may not be the same aspect ratio, and it may not be as wide as needed or as tall, as high as needed. So another way to do that, Control V, would be at the bottom of this list of choices, and that would be to first store it. Before we do that, let's go to this one here. That replaces with the existing image. So that means that replaces the existing image. That means it's essentially going to have the dimensions that you need for the new image coming in from the clipboard. There's a couple of other places you can put it into the brush, right? We have a brush system that supports many different types of brushes, and one of them is a custom brush that's a large image potentially, and even an animated image with multiple frames. And then we have this one here. Let's store it to this place. This is a placeholder called a stored copy. You can resize it a little bit just to view it at the bigger size within reason. It's not meant to be a full replacement, but it's meant to be a working place for your workflow. So a stored copy you can also do up here, store image. So whatever image you have in there, let's say you messed it up or intentionally improved it, you can simply click here to store it. There's another stored copy. Right? These are in memory. They're not on disk. They're not safe from crashing or power outages, but you can easily restore. And again, if you need to restore it to a bigger image or a different aspect ratio, you have some options here, such as store it into the center, restore it or paste it into scale to fit. That would basically keep it like that. Same image size originally, but the image you had stored now fits into the new one. And then there's also a tiling option, not the one I want here in this case. So I'm going to go with, there's one more option, of course, which is to create new image, this one here. Right. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually scale it to fit into the existing image placeholder. And now let's explore a couple of things we can do with that. So for one, I'm going to make it seamless. Because one thing I want to do is perhaps move it around a little bit. And if I do that right now as is, let's say with the Shift tool, you're going to see the seam. You can see where the bottom of the picture hits the top of the picture as it's wrapping around. And so that's not nice. That's not a seamless picture by default. And one way you could improve upon that is to make it seamless. Other places where that will be useful is if you go to the transform filter and not only move it around like so, but also tile it, right? And you see that seam, or you can even rotate it and scale it, and you would see each of those patches, and we may want to do without that. So let's go to the image and simply say make seamless. Well, we don't just say it, we actually pick that option. In the menu item, we're not that good. It doesn't read our mind or go with speech recognition just yet. But you can see how this make seamless works. It's a simple fading away over a couple of sort of a percentage of the image. You can go up to almost 50%. And then keep the original size, and now you have an image which is seamless. You might want to recheck the dynamic range. It might have gotten a little bit of light tones into the dark areas. So what used to be totally black may have gotten away from totally black. And same thing with the white parts. If there are some bright parts, they may have gotten a little bit darker. So it's a good idea to perhaps go and expand the dynamic range so it can go to the brightest possible again. The other things you might want to do, of course, is now check that it is seamless. And a quick way we can do that here with the transform and shifting it. As you shift it, you don't see any crease or seam or ridge or anything like an artifact indicating that it used to be a seam full or a non-seamless picture. Alright, so let's say we want to center it about this way. Right, that's a good place to have it. And now what else do we do? Well, first of all, we store it. That has to become your workflow to occasionally, frequently store it. You also want to have the undo stack examined here. This is a stack of all the images in the undo memory. And you can go to the settings. So again, that's here, this little stacky icon here. These undo levels or undo browser allows you to do a couple of things. You can double click these to restore those images if they are still in the same dimensions as the current image, and you can also store a copy and then restore or replace it. As far as like the settings, I would certainly recommend using the disk, the hard drive for the undo memory, so that you don't waste your hard-earned cash and money or memory on those on the undo, because there's only so many or so few that can fit into RAM. When you go even to the maximum at 256 megabytes, you really shouldn't waste that, especially if you are on a low-end system with just 1 or 2 or maybe 4 gigabytes. It's nice to have that available for other things, more important things. So keep the disk busy and the hard drive, especially if it's a fast disk, 10,000 or 14,000 RPM. Or an SSD drive, of course, and then you have free reign as to how many levels of undo you want. Somebody is bragging to you that their app allows 99 level of undo. You can top that, 100, boom. So you can have a lot of disk space, and you can have a lot of that used by, or some of that used by the undo memory system. And then let's see what else. Okay, so let's filter this a little bit. Let's experiment with some of the photographic filter. There's a couple of artistic filters, like what is it? There's so many things here. Artistic, stylize. Let's check what the normal map might look like. Okay, so that's a normal map. Alright, let's store that. I don't know what I'll do with it, but if you're into 3D, you can use that for nice normal bump mapping, that sort of things. Normal mapping. Let's see what else there is. Well, let's take one of each. Okay, each category has its merits. Let's take one. One of my favorites in the adjustment category is the curves. Curves are very powerful. You can go increase the contrast very nicely. You can flatten it, saturate it. You can even do crazy things like invert it. You can take the bottom, bring it to the top, and take the brightest, bring it to the bottom, and now you have sort of an inverted range. You can also do sort of zigzags and create all sorts of new art. And so nobody tell me using filters is not art. Yeah. So here we go. Let's see that. So that was just one. Let's store that. That was one filter. We didn't store the earlier one, or maybe we did, but I'm gonna undo to make sure. Yeah. I'm gonna keep this one. Store that. I'm gonna also go back one more time. I think this one was already. Yeah, I don't know if that one. I think this one was seamless already. So I'm gonna go and test that. Transform, shift, and yeah, that one's good also. So I'm gonna just have it perhaps a little bit on the side here, and actually I'm gonna also rotate it. Why not use the full filter? That's under the transforms. There, transformed. And so I'm gonna rotate this a little bit, scale it up a tiny bit. I don't want it that small, but here we got now two of these icons, or rocks, or whatever they are. Oh, these are where the water splashes out for the windshield. That's on the top of my old car. So we got the rotation, We got the tiling. We want to keep that and okay that. And then of course now it might, well,